Most people thought Diddy was going to take a severe L in this case, but the jury has proved all of us very, very wrong. And well, looks like Diddy might walk free today. So unless you have been hiding under a rock for the past, 2 hours or so, you know the outcome of the RICO trial against Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka Diddy, aka Brother Love. Now, Diddy has been in prison for the better part of a year, waiting for this trial. And this trial has been about 4 to 6 weeks ongoing now. And I didn't cover it myself because I was watching from the sidelines. I have a 9 to 5. I'm a normie. But most of you know what's been going on with this case. Yesterday, they came back and they had a verdict on 4 out of the 5 counts. They were still deliberating on the number 1 charge, which was the RICO. And well, they came back today and they had a decision on the RICO and they revealed the verdict of the other 4 charges. And as you can see here, well, count 1, RICO, not guilty. Count 2, S trafficking, not guilty. Count 3, transportation, guilty. Count 4, S trafficking, not guilty. And count 5 of transporting, he is guilty. Hey, man. Hey. Now, do not get me wrong. This is not a celebration for black people because we still know what Diddy did, but this is a win and a celebration for Diddy because he was facing 15 years to life in prison. So, I got to give him his respect for winning like I would do with anybody. He won. And they're going to deliberate later on and find out if they're going to sentence him later on today, I believe. And then he's going to find out if he's going to walk free. The defense and the prosecution are both going to give their argument of why, 1, he should go to prison immediately, or B, he should be out, or he should be let out for in preparation for sentencing. He should go home, be with his family until the sentencing hearing. So you see the title here, Sean Diddy Combs acquitted of the most serious charges, and I already told you what those were. So,
ain't no fucking way.
I mean, I said the same thing, ain't no way. But there is a clip in here and I want you to hear, so I'm going to play it, but I'm putting my fair use banner in front of it because it is CNN, all right? So before we get into the reaction or listen to what's going on with the trial, fair use.
We are seeing about the actual verdict here, and just for the I want to understand, count 1 was the most serious charge, carrying up to a life sentence. He has been found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy RICO, not guilty. He has also been found not guilty of sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura. She testified for days. We're also learning that he's been found guilty of the transportation to engage in prostitution count involving Cassie Ventura. He has been found not guilty of sex trafficking of Jane, who is the girlfriend that he was dating as well, and guilty of the transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, Elizabeth.
So y'all heard that, you got that right. You heard the charges. You heard all 5 of the verdicts, guilty and not guilty respectively. And like I said, there is a good chance he could walk today depending on how the judge wants to sentence the guilty verdicts. So we are going to see.
Very, very significant. We had an inkling yesterday when there was a hung jury on the initial RICO charge, the most serious, that there might be an actual acquittal there or a hung jury. The prosecution insisted on having it keep going. The defense wanted it to keep going. And now we know they have a result. It is a not guilty verdict. Talk to me more broadly here, because the prosecution acts, people thought it was kind of a low-hanging fruit. He was found guilty of those, but not sex trafficking of Cassie.
Now, before I let her explain, I'll give my normie version of this. A lot of people thought that Cassie essentially was a volunteer and a victim at the same time. It kind of blurs the line of the trafficking thing, because really, if you look at it, the trafficking wasn't of Cassie. The trafficking was of the male escorts that came to do their thing with Cassie and Jane Doe. And also, here's one thing I want to throw at you guys listening. The way that the jury was instructed to rule on the verdict or give their verdict, I believe he said one of my best friends, day one subscribers, said that it might have turned off the jury that they say, okay, well, if they did XYZ, RICO or trafficking, whatever, or if you thought they did, if there's an inkling that they might have done it, committed it, then make them guilty. And I think that the way the judge kind of instructed these jurors maybe have made it seem like they were just trying to, hang this guy, that they were just trying to push a guilty verdict. And so essentially this guy got off on the major charges and got hit with the lesser charges. And so really, again, in the eyes of the public, this is a loss for the feds and a win for Diddy, like I said.
This is the best possible outcome for the defense. This is what, of course they wanted a full acquittal, but if you're not getting a full acquittal, this is what they wanted. Their client is now not facing life in prison. He is facing 2 separate charges that he was convicted on. Serious charges. They each carry a maximum of 10 years. So this isn't nothing that we are talking about, but the most serious charges he has been acquitted on. As Laura said, days of testimony from Cassie Ventura, from Jane, Cassie being on the stand for 4 days, Jane being on the stand for 6 days.
And both of these charges, the transportation for prostitution, both of these charges come with, like she said, a maximum of 10 years. But do you really think that they're going to give Sean Combs 20 years for soliciting or transportation for prostitution? No. Now they would give him that for one charge of, trafficking. They'd give him 20 years for that. But the lesser charge of, transportation or prostitution, that's really a low charge, if you will. They're not giving 20 years for that. So, I mean, you let me know what you think down in the comment section if this video gets out before the sentencing is complete. But I don't think that they're going to give this man that kind of time for those charges. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still here, thank you again for your viewership. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell that way you can be notified whenever I go live or drop new content. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, please do so by hitting the Cash App $ Mr. Normie. And you can also go to my Ko-Fi page, ko-fi.com/workingmanmg. Also, I'm trying to build a community on Locals. So if you would, go please check out my Locals page and you can join for just $5 a month. You can post and we can build a community of like-minded working men over there. Thank you for your time. Now back to the video.
Women crying, breaking down on the stand. Well, guess what? The jury did not believe most of their story, or even if they believed most of their story, it did not line up with those charges. So,
and by the way, on that point, let's talk a little bit about that, because there was an inkling for those people who had been in the courtroom, including ourselves, who had been watching the testimony. Remember what they were using as the defense to counter the sex trafficking. It was free will. They were talking about free will, and they were suggesting, while the prosecution said any bait and switch or manipulation to coerce these women by fraud or threat or otherwise to engage in these so-called freak-offs, that force, that cloud of force and threat and violence that had hung over the head of Cassie Ventura was enough to suggest that she never could develop the free will to say no. And when it came to Jane, the idea of manipulating her to travel to places like New York under the pretenses of quality time and shopping, only to then engage in freak-offs, was enough of manipulation. Well,
I tell you what was the manipulation, that $10,000, well, you can call it how you want, but the $10,000 that she got, the Jane Doe got for that apartment, the business that Diddy helped pay for her, or for Cassie, all the fanfare she got, all the red carpets that she got to walk on, the money that she got. Oh, by the way, she also cheated on Diddy several times. Again, Diddy did some foul stuff himself, but in my opinion, both of these individuals, Cassie and Jane Doe, were victims and volunteers at the same time, depending on the day and the situation. So I don't think either one of these people that testified against Diddy are themselves completely innocent.
Was very clear. They kept saying free will. These are grown women making grown-up decisions who have a interest in engaging in this behavior. It seems that the jurors, maybe looking at text messages or testimony, agreed with that sentiment.
Yes, they did. They were grown women, all right? They were grown women making grown decisions. They could have proverbially pulled out of this situation at any moment. They decided not to. And at that point, they become volunteers. Now, it could be argued in the beginning they were a victim of this, but not for very long, if you ask me. And because of that, well, the jury, I think their sentiment was the same. You see it. And with that being said, thank you for taking another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section. Let me know if you think Diddy should have got time or if you think that the jury made the right decision. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Please, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell, and your way out of the door. And I will see you on the next video.